Good morning, good morning. Welcome to Urban Talks. Anthony's here. We're going to have a insightful conversation. For those that are new to the channel, we make mental health conversations and content that's going to be beneficial to your personal development in addition to your well-being. However, in today's conversation, we're going to be talking about how to break the habit of overthinking, simple strategies for your mental peace. I think it's very important for us to be able to have a mind. We're able to think about our own, rationalize, critically think about what's going on, and have that mental peace in regards to not self-sabotaging, having those negative things come through our mind, even overthinking, right? So I want to give us practical steps for managing overthinking and embracing a more calmer and more focused mindset, right? So stick with me, we're gonna grow through this. So I want you to kind of catch yourself. Have you ever, caught yourself replaying the same situation over and over in your mind, or worrying about problems that haven't even happened? You know what I mean? That is called, overthinking. And while it feels like we're, solving something, it leaves us feeling stuck, stressed, and even drained. So like I said, we're going to dive into how we're able to, quiet the mind, give ourselves the quiet, and calm, mindset. We're able to have that peace. So some key points I want to dive into. We're going to be talking about overthinking in regards to repetitive and unproductive thoughts that loop around, keeping us feeling down, right? Stuck, taught from the flow up in other senses, and it fuels anxiety, drains our focus, and even prevents action. So it keeps us, like I said, stagnant, which we don't want to be. So the good news is the habit that we can work on, we can break this. So when it comes to research insights, overthinking is linked to anxiety, depression, even stress. But strategies like mindfulness, cognitive reframing could successfully, significantly reduce it. So I want us to take that into consideration. That's why it's good to, have that self-care regimen, getting into nature, drinking water, you know what I mean? Getting your mind right, getting your body right, and focusing on your personal development so you're able to have a peace of what? Peace of mind. You can't put a dollar on it. Moving forward into our next segment, we're going to be talking about what overthinking really is, right? So it's not, like I said, problem solving, it's rumination. So you're tearing yourself down by overthinking critically and just having these things keep happening over and over. So often it's triggered by uncertainty, fear of failure, or even regret. And it keeps our brain stuck in the past and anxious about the future. So like I said, we're stagnant, and this isolation, this way of thinking, it keeps us stuck. And I think that we're trying to find a way out. So stick with me. Let's navigate. When it comes to research insights in regards to rumination intensifies negative emotions instead of resolving them. So like I'm telling you, when you're overthinking, this really affects your well-being. Next segment, we're going to be talking about why we get stuck in the cycle, right? So the brain craves certainty and control. Stress, perfectionism, and lack of coping tools makes overthinking worse. So like I said, when we're not really taking this thing serious, we're not really, being intentional about what's going on and trying to figure out these things, we're going to be in a world of chaos. So I need us to really make sure that we have that reassurance and, so we're able to understand what's really going on in our mindset. But just like resilience, the habit of overthinking could be unlearned. We're able to, unravel, and we're able to improve the mindset. When it comes to research insights, perfectionism and fear of mistakes are strong predictors of overthinking patterns, right? So people out there, we got to realize, if you fail, you have the ability to get up. You have the ability to improve. You have the ability to change, look at things with a critical lens, right? Self-compassion, being easy on yourself, right? And just stop trying to be perfect. Just do the best that you can. In regards to our next segment, we're going to be talking about simple strategies to break the cycle, right? So stick with me, get your notepad if necessary, but we're gonna dive into the first one. The first one is name the pattern. So awareness is key, is the first step. So I'm overthinking right now, really address it, what's really going on right now. If necessary, get a paper, get something to write what's going on, how you're feeling with those emotional, document the day and time, you know what I mean? Number two is set a time limit, right? So give yourself 10 minutes to think, then move forward. Really just kind of do like maybe a deep breathing exercise, really get yourself grounded, really understand and unravel what's going on, and get control of the steering wheel, in other terms. Number three is going to be shift the focus to action, right? So replace the thought loops with small, doable steps, right? So focus on action, facilitate a way where you're able to pursue moving forward from where you're at right now, right? Like I said, that mindfulness. And number four is practice what? Mindfulness. So breathing, meditation, and grounding helps anchor and puts you more into being more present. You're more aware of what's going on. Think about the breathing. Think about your breathing. Think about the air that's flowing around you. Just try to be kind of mindful. and trying to, get yourself grounded away from those thoughts. Number 5 is externalize the thoughts, right? So write down the thoughts of how you're feeling, so you're able to understand what's going on internally, right? And when it comes to research insights, mindfulness-based interventions significantly reduce rumination and stress. So like I said, by doing the mindfulness, by doing these breathing exercises, by getting yourself grounded and getting yourself assured of what's going on in the mind, you get the steering wheel back. This reduces the stress, and you're able to persist on moving forward. Our next segment, we're going to be talking about real life applications. So when these situations do arise, I'm going to give you some real, situations. So at work, for instance, instead of, replaying an email mistake, write down the lesson and move on, right? So you made a mistake, something happened, move on. So stop overthinking about it. Stop, We make mistakes, move on. We don't have to be perfect. And for instance, in a relationship, replace the, what if they're upset with me? Let's think, stop overthinking about it, and let's just why not be just direct? Why not walk up to that individual? Why not just have a conversation? Yo, I'm not gonna hold you. Are you upset with me? Did I do something? Did I frustrate you? And then let them, unravel that and express on their behalf. I think it's really important that we don't overthink, but we don't internalize other people's emotions. Everybody has their own thing that they got going on. Everybody's living their life, and you may be thinking about something that they're just not even thinking about because they're thinking about something different. So everybody's on their own timing, and that's why communication and effective communication, respectful communication is very important, so that we're able to, just kind of be direct and get our needs met, right? For instance, in personal goals, right? Trade. What if I fail? With small steps I can, I can take today. So stop always thinking about failure. Stop always thinking about just overthinking negative, and trying to think more positive and facilitate ways where you're able to move forward and facilitate action and, get your needs met, When it comes to a prompt, I want to be able to ask y'all, what is one thought you have been thinking about in regards to overthinking, and what is one small action you can do in regards to, moving forward instead, So pause if necessary, But I really want us to think about how we're able to really utilize overthinking, how it's affecting us, and all the information that we have led up to this point, how we can apply it, Because nothing's gonna happen if we don't put action into it. So we gotta be intentional with what's going on. I know sometimes these things unravel in our mind, but we gotta be able to take control of the steering wheel. We got it. Next segment, we're gonna be talking about when overthinking feels overwhelming, right? So when it just keeps happening, we kind of feel like we're in a world of chaos, Let me just kind of, give us some key points. So it is normal, to struggle. Don't beat yourself up for overthinking. It happens. We are human. I want us to have more self-compassion to ourselves. Rather beat yourself up. Talk to yourself, I'm doing the best I can. These things keep happening, maybe I need to seek some help, seek, a therapist, seek the doctor, talk to someone, socialize, You got to normalize these things because we're all human beings, you feel me? Mental health is real. Another thing I want to be able to also include in regards to another key point is if it interferes with, like I said, your daily life, therapy, journaling, and structured problem solving can help. So like I said, no one in this life is going to know you beyond yourself. You feel me? So you got to spend time to invest in yourself, love yourself, spend time with yourself, reflective thinking, write down your thoughts, what your emotions are, what you're overthinking about, what's really going on. And then you're going to realize that you're going to be able to, problem solve by that intention that you put behind it. Another thing I want to be able to include as well is mental peace is built through practice, not perfection. So like I said, the more you have that mindfulness, the more you put into yourself, the more things you're going to things will change on a positive aspect. The glow will come back. You feel me? When it comes to research insights, cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, is highly effective for reducing overthinking and rumination. So like I said, if this is something that you realize that, you just want to get some assistance in regards to, or even, talk to someone about, you get some more understanding or information, CBT in regards to therapy, this is a therapeutic modality. This is something that we utilize to be able to understand what's going on in your mind, address some of these thoughts, and we facilitate ways where we can, get you to where you need to be. So I really want you guys to take in consideration, therapists are here, they're professionals to get that mind right. The same way you get that car done with that mechanic, you go to the doctor, get your checkup, therapists are there to really assess your mind. So, I really want us to take that in consideration when we're having these thoughts, we're overthinking, and just to be able to calm the mind. But in regards to pulling things together. A calmer mindset, a calmer mind is possible. Overthinking may feel like, a habit that we can't even escape. This is difficult, but when we have the awareness, like I said, we have the practice, we put these things together, and we're really being intentional, we can quiet our mindset. The noise can be, turn the volume down, right? And we're able to gain some more peace. So I really want us to remember that peace isn't, about controlling everything and controlling our thoughts fully, but it's about, choosing which ones can provide us the energy that we need. So we got to be able to control the steering wheel and really identify what's really going on in our minds. So like I said, if this video was able to provide you some value, please throw a thumbs up, share if possible, comment if necessary, and I'll see you in the next one. Take it easy.